What's up, guys? Max here, back with a brand new episode of the Scuttlebutt Show. I hope you're all doing great out there. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's President's Day out here in Okinawa, Japan, but I'm still bringing you a brand new Scuttlebutt Show because we have tons of stuff to talk about, and it's going to be a great week. Let me start out with this. Normally, there's nothing in the world I want more than to ask you guys to stare at my face for an hour. But today, I have to point out my lips are wrecked from wind, cold, sun, all those things that I got my face just wrecked from on our ski trip last week. If you notice, I look a little off. It's that, and I just want to get that out of the way. As I learned in instructor school, instructor qualification course, if you got a ketchup stain on your shirt or something like that, instead of just awkwardly ignoring it, just point it out and move past it. So my lips are wrecked. Forgive me for that while I used a $5 super chat. Harry Lime Pie dropped right there to get myself some chapstick to try to start recovering. I do appreciate it. What's up, everybody in the chat? We have Larry, Cold Comfort, John Franco, Corporal Techno, Eviana, Ed, Harry Lime Pie, as I already said. Welcome, everybody. It is great to see you. I have a crazy show for you today. It's going to be really fun, and I'm really excited to get to it. But just a couple by the ways and a quick about yesterday. So I posted on the YouTube channel, speaking of that ski trip, a video of my wife and I snowboarding down in Niseko, the Annapurna mountain up there. It was so fun. It was our favorite run. You guys can check that out on the YouTube channel right now. It's just us going from the top to the bottom of the Annapurna run. I'm using my GoPro 10, recording in that nice 5K for you guys. I mean, those things are just awesome. It's a miracle what those things can do. It's truly cool. So this week, this Thursday, 1800 Pacific Standard Time, we have Robert Sweetman from Exist Tribe on the show to talk about sleep. We're going to be doing some interactive breathing exercises, so I want to make sure you guys are tracking on that and aware and showing up for that episode. Share it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun. I look forward to seeing you guys all there. What's up, Justin in the chat, tuning in, checking in. It's great to see you. I have a story today about a soldier who gives all of us a bad name, is the reason giving them, whoever that is, politicians, activists, a reason to hate the military and fear the military. Absolutely not a Bravo Zulu. We're going to heckle that soldier badly when that story comes up. It's our headline story of today when we get to it. But first, we've been talking about Alaska. We've been talking about the craziness that's going on over there. We have an update on one of the soldiers killed in Alaska and what actually happened, and it's insane. So let's get right into it with today's first story. Mobile kitchen fell on Alaska paratrooper who died last month. It seems like this was just a terrible accident while trying to do some PMS on a mobile kitchen. So as you guys might remember, we covered the story of the soldier who was Specialist Carolyn Ferrer Padilla, a brand new soldier into the Army, only been in a couple years, gets put out on a duty in Alaska and ends up, while they're trying to change a tire, I believe it was, on this mobile kitchen. These mobile kitchens are, they drive them out there. They have some like sinks and stoves and things like that. They can make you a nice meal of chicken cordon bleu or chicken wings, bone-in chicken wings, fresh out of the freezer. You guys know the fried fish. You guys know the food you're expecting to get out there at the DFAC. So they're working on this mobile kitchen when it falls off of the jack and crushes her. Let's talk about this story. More information has emerged about the death of Army Alaska paratrooper who was killed in an accident at Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson, Alaska last month, which does not do a lot for the already low morale going on up there. I feel horrible for her family and also her battle buddies. Specialist Carolina Ferrer Padilla, it says, was killed instantly when a containerized kitchen fell on her at 2:30 p.m. on January 23rd. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I've seen accidents where people get hurt just, working on equipment, and I've even had somebody but somebody I worked with on the Reagan was killed when they were hit by steam out of a pipe, and just this everyday maintenance stuff can be extremely dangerous, but to add to that, the freezing cold conditions in Alaska sounds like it was a factor here. Such reports are intended as educational tools. This is the loss report that allow leaders an opportunity to communicate risk at the soldier level, maybe to learn something from this, maybe a new procedure in place to prevent this from happening again. The 20-year-old fueler from Puerto Rico was lowering the kitchen during a tire change and removing one of the jack stands when the kitchen tipped over approximately 90 degrees and crushed her. She was unable to get clear because she was standing on an icy surface. So imagine that. You're up there, you're working, you have maybe a split second where you see things going wrong, you can't move, you're on ice, and then to be just crushed. This is like, I mean, what are you going to do? These containers probably weigh thousands of pounds, just falls right on her, never had a chance. Containerized kitchens, mobile kitchens that stow onto a 20-foot container mounted on a trailer chassis. They're so heavy that they require a 5-ton. You call it a 5-ton, 7 tons, all these different trucks that carry, the stated load. They can tow them behind there, put them on the back. JBER Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson. First responders declared her dead at the scene of the accident. So she didn't even make it to the hospital or anything. Like it said, killed instantly. So that's really too bad. Really too bad. A sad story there. But now we know what happened to that soldier up in Alaska. It seems like Alaska's just been a horrible place to be recently. And I hope that her battle buddies are doing okay. I hope that they're learning from that incident, or I don't know, something. That sucks. That's a tragedy right there. MC 999 Super Chat. Wow, thank you so much. Chapstick and Cetaphil Fund. I don't know what Cetaphil is, but if it will help with my current dry lips, I'm going to have to go get some. I look ridiculous. I'm seeing myself in the camera. I look silly. Most of the food cooked in that is glorified hot MRE-based food. That's right, John. Absolutely. Larry says, it's easy to get killed in weird ways. On my ship, a guy got killed when he activated the CO2 fire suppression system in a closed space. Oh, yeah. It'll suck out the oxygen. It's chemical, poisonous. Yeah, is that what happened, Larry? The oxygen got sucked out of the room, or what happened? Did he suffocate? Oh, man. That is horrible sounding. So we've got some crazy stories today, like I was saying. Some of them might leave you a little upset. This next one bothered me quite a bit. When you think of Texas, I know maybe there's somebody out there from Texas who's going to tell me all about Texas, how great it is, the greatest country in the United States. The Texas idea, the archetype of Texas people, freedom-loving, patriots, military-supporting, American flag waving. You go to Texas, that is homegrown America. Just good old America. So how did this happen? Texas hotel called cops on amputee veteran over service dog, and now they're paying up. So they kicked out a veteran with their service dog from this hotel. He's in a wheelchair. What is going on down in Texas? Tell me in the comments. What is it about Texas? How did this happen? This is like the opposite of what I think of when I think of Texas. So this says here, a Texas hotel will have to pay up and change its policies after a veteran using a wheelchair was forced to leave and his reservation was not honored. The Executive Inn and Suites in Killeen is accused of violating the Americans with Disabilities Act and refusing service to the veteran and his service dog. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Texas announced in a February 15th news release. Crazy. The attorney information for the Executive Inn and Suites was not available, but they did reach out and are waiting for a response. The American Military News Network here, where I'm getting this article from. The veteran who uses a wheelchair and a service dog due to a left leg amputation says the hotel desk clerk denied him his reservation because the hotel will not allow dogs on the premises. What they don't know is that service dogs must be allowed. The hotel staff in Killeen, which is near Fort Hood, called the police to escort the veteran off the property. What? Called the cops on the veteran and did not provide a refund for his room rental? Come on. Executive Inn and Suites, that's not very executive treatment right there. Can you imagine? Could you put yourself in the shoes of this veteran who is, so to speak, maybe that's a bad metaphor there, bad turn of phrase, but put yourself in this situation. Goes into the Executive Inn and Suites for a stay with his service dog because he's a wounded veteran with an amputated left leg, goes in, tries to check in. Service dogs are usually wearing those vests too. They have like the vest with the service dog, do not pet sign on them. These service dogs are incredibly well trained. They're well trained to, stay near their owner, to seek help if, the person has a medical condition. They are trained to avoid people, avoid other animals, to not get distracted, go chasing squirrels and all that stuff. Very well trained and usually marked. That's the important thing. Usually marked with a service dog vest. People abuse that, though. There are people who get these service dog letters out of the back of a magazine, or they just say, hey, doc, can you write me a service dog letter or something like that? Like, I don't really need it, but, I'd love to have my dog in a restaurant, in a hotel, on a plane. So people do abuse that. I don't know if this hotel has any experiences with that kind of thing, but if somebody comes in, they're missing a leg, and they have a service dog, I think you would give them the benefit of the doubt. Wouldn't you? I would. It says here, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, public accommodations must alter policies to allow a person with disability and a service dog to use their services. This is something that a hospitality specialist would know. This is why people go to college for hospitality. You've got a whole degree, a whole college degree for hospitality. Individuals with disabilities, including veterans who have sacrificed for our country, have a right under federal law to the equal enjoyment of public accommodations, according to Ashley Hoff, who's a U.S. attorney. Our office is committed to ensuring that our veterans enjoy equal access to public accommodations such as restaurants, hotels, and shops. The settlement will require the hotel to amend its policies to allow service dogs. The hotel will also pay an undisclosed amount to the veteran for damages. I hope that they paid an arm and a leg, so to speak. I don't know. Is that okay? Is that joke okay? I don't know. I hope that the veteran made out like a bandit from that hotel, because that's a horrible situation. And if they call the cops, how did that escalate to that point? Well, he probably didn't want to go. He probably didn't want to leave. He probably was thinking, you know what? I have a right to be here. It's my service dog. I'm a veteran. This is Texas. Damn it. Call the cops. See what they do. And it sounds like the cops came and escorted him away. This is everything backwards from what I thought I know. The world is upside down. The world is upside down, huh? I see stories this morning about Ukraine. I see stories this morning about Ukraine being invaded by Russia. I see a story this morning about people were sharing a clip from a video game called Arma 3, which you guys have tried to get me to play, but I'm too stupid. I'm too dumb. I'm too dumb to play Arma 3. I admit it. Okay, it's too complicated for me. But people were sharing footage of Arma 3 saying that the war in Ukraine with Russia has begun. That's sick. That's really sick. Remember War of the Worlds? The old War of the Worlds radio broadcast where they broadcast over the radio that the world was getting invaded by aliens? People went bananas over that. People went mad. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Please do not spread false reporting. People have been sending out tweets about the war starting, and this morning I get a notification on my phone from Apple News saying that they have gotten word that Russia has ordered its troops to proceed with the invasion. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a major thing to broadcast. Major thing. And then I get a notification right before this that Putin and Joe Biden have somehow gentlemanly agreed to meet and talk over Ukraine. Something like that. Meeting, they've agreed in principle to meet. So what is going on? I don't know. If all-out war breaks out in Ukraine, what will I do with the Scuttlebutt Show? It wouldn't feel right to just keep talking about how jacked up the army is at that time. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know what I would do. I'm not sure. Who out there would like re-enlist? Anybody out there going, I would call the recruiter. I would go back in the military if there was war with Russia. I've heard that. Heard a lot of people saying that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. That's crazy. Justin says, you're supposed to follow a service dog if they're alone like Lassie. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that. I did not know. That's awesome. Now everyone knows. If you see a service, are you saying that because the idea is if a service dog is alone, they are seeking help for their owner? Is that the suggestion here? Let's see. Ancient Neophyte says he may be working. Oh, talking about Sam. Killeen, Texas doesn't have its own 911 center. They patch you through to a Bell County 911 dispatcher. Oh, John, thank you very much for sharing that. Interesting. Because out in Fort Hood there. So, we've got the Navy. I rarely, okay, you guys know I was a Chief Select in the Navy. It's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty significant rank to achieve, Chief Select. nearly a chief. I was nearly a chief. I was chosen for the brotherhood, the Chiefs Mess, the Fraternal Order of Navy Chiefs. And I got to say, I never really bought into it. I had bad chiefs and I had good chiefs. A good chief in the Navy, an E7, an enlisted, senior enlisted management level can do incredible things for you. They can really go to bat for you. They can take great care of you, or they cannot. They can be a perv. They can be a jerk. They could do right or wrong. Making chief in the Navy, being a chief in the Navy is nothing more than an opportunity to do good things. It doesn't mean, by and large, and for all intents and purposes, that you are some kind of great, extremely perfect sailor. It's just an opportunity to do good things, and it's an opportunity to do bad things. So, how did this happen? Ensign and 4 chiefs charged for leaking the F-35 crash video. I can't even be mad at the ensign. He's just a little baby. How did these chiefs let this happen? Chiefs, check your mess. This is crazy. We got Navy chiefs, and one of them a senior chief and 3 chiefs. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble because it turns out they're the ones who leaked the F-35 crash on a Carl Vinson, all the footage. They're the ones who leaked it. Look, we got the video right here if you guys have not seen this. Isn't that crazy? And there looks like they're watching from, the tower or something like that. That's like the air boss's desk or something. And they're watching the crash footage. So the 4 chiefs, 3 chiefs, a senior chief, and an ensign. Forget about the ensign. Forget about that. Who cares? Ensign. That's nobody. That's nothing. Ensign's nothing. A Navy officer and 4 senior enlisted leaders are facing NJP, non-judicial punishment, in connection to the leak of a shipboard video footage showing the harrowing January 24th crash of an F-35. The video shows the jet hitting the deck, catching fire, and then sliding the length of the carrier before falling into the sea. And the pilot ejected and was rescued out of the water. Navy ensign, a senior chief, and 3 chiefs have all been charged with failure to obey an order, Article 92, which is out of the UCMJ. If you would like to know more, consult your Blue Jackets manual. I'm sure you guys have that on your desk. Naval Air Forces spokesman Commander Zach Harrell declined to identify the accused or confirm where their cases are in the legal process. The Navy has yet to salvage the wreckage. 7 sailors were injured, including the pilot. So how does this happen? By the way, that ship the flight deck was operating again in 45 minutes, they say. It's pretty impressive. Imagine having to keep your composure after that happens, and in 45 minutes, do a FOD walk down, which is basically, let me play back this video. Let me show you guys something. Where's the video? Let me show you guys something. As we watch this video, when that thing hits the deck there, you can see pieces of it flying off of the aircraft. Every single one of those things is called, in the Navy, FOD. It stands for Foreign Object Damage, which sounds like a description of an event instead of a noun, but we call it FOD. Every little thing, every micro piece of metal and airframe and composite and carbon fiber and, everything. I'm sure that there's hazmat, fuel and oils and everything, grease on the deck, all this stuff, rubber from the tires, just the list goes on. Glass from the wind screens or whatever, whatever the internal components are made out of that might have burst, wiring from, I don't know what the extent of the damage caused by this thing as it skids across the flight deck, but all these things that could have fallen out onto the deck, you've got to police up and do a FOD walk down every single bit of it. Every single piece. You got to get every single piece of it up, or else you risk damage to other aircraft. So helicopters are spinning their, jet blast, exhaust is going. Any one of those little things could become a projectile, a little piece of metal, a little screw gets hit by a JBD, or the exhaust goes around the JBD as as the aircraft flies off the ship, it lifts up a screw, hits somebody in the face. It's like a bullet. Or an intake of an engine sucks up a piece of metal and it FODs out the engine, destroys the whole inside of the engine. So the crew of the flight deck of the Vincent, they police up all this FOD. They have to do checks on all the gear to make sure things are safe. see if the non-skid is even okay, because the non-skid would get ground down by the plane flying over there. They do all this stuff and get planes flying again in 45 minutes. That's actually really good. It's actually really cool. So shout out to the flight deck crew, who of course would have their confidence rattled. They're scared. They're worried about their shipmates, all this stuff. And then they do all that and they get planes flying again in 45 minutes. Well, that's, I think that's the story. That might be the story right there. The turnaround time of 45 minutes to do all that, to get that flight deck up and running again. That's actually pretty good. Pretty good. It takes courage. It takes confidence to launch another aircraft after that. You get rattled, and then you're kind of on tilt. Your confidence is shot. How do you land the next aircraft, which is probably flying around, burning fuel? You got to recover the next one, or else it's going to crash. And the next one and the next one. Who knows how many aircraft, how many sorties were going on at that time? They have to recover these other aircraft. So they do all this. Good job. Bravo, Zulu, to the flight deck crew. That's good work. That's good work. Max, you could do what you did at lunch, read those names of those lost, share motivation for the Navy Times and such. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. I could. We'll figure something out. My son deploys to the Baltic Med in about a month on a Gator freighter. To be honest, good on them. What would be the point of keeping it confidential? Well, Techno, let's see. Part of it is you go into what's called River City, and they limit communications going off the ship for a couple reasons. One, remember, this leaked like the day of. Let's keep this in mind, okay? This leaked like the day of this happening. A photo leaked, then a cell phone video leaked, and then the footage of the flight deck camera leaked maybe a day after that. So a couple things. One is you don't want to frighten the family of the people on the ship. You don't want to put out any bad information that'll have now thousands of family members emailing the ombudsman going, is my husband okay? Is my son okay? Is my daughter okay? You don't want that. You don't want to alarm family. And you don't want to signal any sort of incompetence or lack of readiness for your ship. So those are the first two things that come to mind. I'm sure there's other reasons, but those are two reasons why you would not want to do that. Guys, you all, Scuttle Buddies, I've got to tell you, this next story is wild. And it's wild, and it's funny. This next one is hilarious, okay? I got to get to it. Big stories coming up. Got to get to it. These next two are going to be pure entertainment, you guys. Let's talk about it. Marine reservist nurse charged with fake vaccine card scam. But wait till you hear what their code words were for this. It's hysterical. This is really good. So this isn't even the first time we've had. This is a new story. We've had stuff like this before, and this is a new one. So it's kind of wild. A Marine Corps reservist who was charged in last year's riot at the U.S. Capitol also, in addition to, schemed with a nurse to steal, forge, and sell hundreds of fake coronavirus vaccine cards and destroy vaccine doses to fake inoculations. Corporal Ja Lu, 26 years old, released on a $250,000 bond to home detention with an ankle monitor, and the nurse, Stephen Rodriguez, who's 27, was released on a $100,000 bond. They say by deliberately distributing fraudulent COVID-19 vaccination cards to the unvaccinated, the defendants put military and other communities at risk of contracting a virus that has already claimed nearly 1 million lives. So that's what the attorney from Brooklyn said. Lou's lawyer, Benjamin Yaster, declined to comment. A message was left for their attorney, no reply. The defendants are charged with conspiring to commit forgery and to defraud the federal government. The charges carry the potential for up to 10 years in prison for Lou. That's a lot. That's a lot. According to an indictment, Rodriguez, who worked at a clinic on Long Island, pilfered blank COVID-19 vaccination cards. The two men allegedly offered customers the choice of buying blank or fraudulently filled out cards with a premium priced option, a fake vaccination record in the New York State and city databases that are used to issue vaccine passes. You can have your own thoughts on the morality of this, because if they're trying to get these vaccine cards because they don't want to get the vaccine, but they want to keep their job to feed their family and not lose their home, okay, there's an argument to be made there. But it feels short-sighted, because what you do when you defraud your own healthcare record is you put yourself at increased risk. Like, what if you then, it's so easy to get busted for this, okay? Let's say you buy a fake vaccine card, You get this person, this is how dumb these people are. You get them to put into the record that you're vaccinated, then you get COVID, and you have to go to the hospital, and they're like, hey, it says here you were vaccinated. I'm basing my medical treatment for you on the fact that you're vaccinated. And you're like, doc, well, I got to tell you, I actually, I bought this card from this dude. He's a Marine. I just, I don't know. It felt like the right thing to do. My boss was on my back about getting in and paperwork drill and all this stuff. So can I get the real medicine? And it's like, well, now you're busted. Now you're caught. It says here, a buyer who sprung for the add-on would go to the clinic where Rodriguez would dispose of a dose of a fake vaccine. So actually waste a good vaccine, waste it, throw it away, forge a card, and make a phony entry into the databases. Wow, that's bad, okay? That's really bad. They referred to, this is the best part, they referred to the fake cards as gift cards, Cardi B's, Christmas cards, and Pokemon cards. They conducted the scam through encrypted messaging apps and social media and instructed buyers to mask online payments as consultancy or Korean barbecue. Come on. It says, I need to make an appointment for you with my buddy who will destroy a vial, scan your ID, and give you a Band-Aid, Lou told one contact in a message last May. That's real smart, Lou. Real way to cover your tracks there. It said some of the fake cards went to Lou's fellow Marine reservists, so some of the military scamming it. The scheme ultimately involved over 300 ill-gotten vaccination cards and over 70 fake database entries. The Marine Corps is aware of the situation. We are cooperating fully with the federal authorities, Lieutenant Colonel Craig Thomas said. He said the Marines had already taken steps toward administratively separating Lou before Thursday's arrest. Admin sep means he's just going to get other than honorable or honorable under general or something like that, or admin. It might just say admin separation, but the process of administratively separating somebody is better than court-martial or, well, who knows? I guess it could go anyway. Lou was charged this past fall with climbing through a broken window into the Capitol during the January 6, 2021 insurrection that delayed Congress's certification. Security cameras recorded Lou entering the building. So he got busted for breaking into the Capitol. Trespassing, I imagine, is what they charged him with. But then this COVID vaccination scam, the worst part has got to be the wasting of the real thing. The disposing of the real vaccine just to lie about it. That's got to be the worst part, right? Or what's the worst part? You guys tell me in the comments what you think the worst part is. Also, what should he get? Should he get 10 years in prison? You guys tell me, what do you think the worst punishment he should get is? I'm curious to hear. You guys can tell me in the comments there. But, yeah, it's pretty dumb, if you ask me. Pretty dumb, in my opinion. IMO. Pretty dumb. What's up, Sam? Thanks for dropping in. Nice to see you. By the way, guys, if you're a longtime listener, big fan of the Scuttlebutt Show, listening to me on the podcast right now, consider checking out Patreon and channel memberships for all the benefits, including 10% off of our online store, where all the merch is just fire over there. You can get the most comfortable shirts, hoodies now, coffee cups. I'm wearing my Moons Out, Goons Out shirt right now. Please go check that out. You'd be doing me a huge solid by checking that out. It would be absolutely cool of you to do that. You would be very cool. You'd be much cooler than Lou. You'd be much cooler than the guy in our next story as well. This next story, this one, I am so excited. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I've got something for you guys. We might wrap up early today, just so you guys know. I just want you guys to know. We might get out of here a little bit early because I do have another thing. I do have another obligation at just 1:15 that I'm going to be doing. I'm doing it for you guys, actually. I'm doing it for you guys. And as we go into this next story, I want you to remember this the next time. That was a weird sentence structure. I want you to remember this. Next time somebody says that veterans are a threat to society, that veterans are a danger, that we need to stop veterans diagnosed with PTSD from being armed or having a right to their Second Amendment rights and all this stuff. All those horrible things that you hear people say that I am staunchly against, are because of people like this. The Army vet who was prepping civilians for a pending civil war, including charging $25,000 for him to put you through his own version of SEER school. Let's talk about it, and let's watch some of his YouTube channel videos too. So Oh my goodness. Where to begin here? This is crazy. So crazy. Christopher Arthur, which sounds like, what was that cartoon character's name? Was it the kid in Winnie the Pooh? Like, wasn't it Chris Arthur, something like that? Built a business off of his military skills, conspiracy theories, and eagerness for a second civil war. This guy was full-blown prepper, and he wanted to do the worst. He just was the worst. Promising to teach potential students how to off cops and military personnel, often by defending their homes with explosives and other deadly traps. Now he faces up to 20 years behind bars. He's 38 years old. He served in the Army as a Cav Scout. I know somebody's going out there. Of course it was a Cav Scout. With a career oscillating between the National Guard and active duty that culminated in the rank of sergeant at the end of his nearly decade of service. Trading off of the training he'd received and the reputation of and claims about his extensive experience as a soldier, he ran Tackleberry Solutions. Have you been a part of Tackleberry Solutions? You might want to delete that contact out of your phone. It's a combat school for civilians. For years, he taught weapon skills, setting up fighting positions, and how to evade capture. He even bred and trained dogs, videotaping showcases of their attack skills. Poor dogs. Poor dogs. We got this is the type of guy who he's a grifter, right? So you got a classic grifter on your hands. He goes and embellishes his military career. He wanted people to think he was special forces, that he was all these things. And he goes, hey, things are getting pretty bad out there. You watch the news, right? You watch the news, it's going to get worse. Don't you want to be prepared when things happen? Don't you want to know how to build, weapons and defend your home and booby trap it? All this stuff. It says here, his lessons were not intended for civilians to dip their toe into military training for fun. He was preparing eager students in a guerrilla warfare type style to fight against the U.S. military and law enforcement based on military.com review of training materials he used. I realized that we were suffering from the same disease the Iraqis were plagued by, and it was tribalism, he says in a video. With his son appearing in the video, I began to notice the same issues here in America. American politics began to infest our daily lives. I knew that was going to lead to a war, he says. That's a quote from him. He posted multiple videos online detailing how to fortify homes to repel law enforcement, how to cause casualties and chaos, with, this including how to funnel people into a fatal funnel, if you will, and then set up that fatal funnel with HME or explosives. Arthur was arrested in January and charged with teaching another individual how to make and use explosives, knowing that person intended to use his instructions to off law enforcement. So this is people, this is not back to blue. This is attack and hurt people because they hate what they see on television, basically. That's in my opinion, what it boils down to. It says here, Arthur served in the North Carolina National Guard from May 2006 to May 2007. He served on active duty from May 2007 to July 2010, and then rejoined the Guard again from 2014 to 2019. He deployed to Iraq in July of 2007, and he deployed for a year in 2009. I was also deployed for a year in 2009. Cavalry Scouts, his specialty in the Army, have significant training in combat skills, including the use of a wide arsenal of weapons. He discussed special forces courses that he suggested he attended. He didn't really, but his military record does not show any signs of him actually doing that, but he gave this impression that he was like secret squirrel. He even has a squirrel on his Tackleberry Solutions logo there. He says, it goes on to say, the FBI's case against him goes back to 2018. Authorities had been tipped off about a different person who was attempting to organize and recruit for a militia group. In 2020, police stopped that suspect, Joshua Blest, who fled a traffic stop in a semi-truck in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Blest was gunned down by police after firing on them following a 2-hour chase. I never even heard about that. Court records say Blest's vehicle was searched, and they found 3 IEDs. Additional explosives and firearms were found at his home, along with multiple Tackleberry Solutions course materials. Investigators say Blest attended in-person classes taught by Arthur for several days in March that year. So the idea is that this guy knew that the people he was teaching had bad intentions. His training includes a $500 course on IEDs and a $25,000 in-person training on SEER, or survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. He I guess, thought that he could run his own SEER school. I don't know if he had ever been to SEER school in his own Army career. It says here, a quote from him, "What I needed to focus on was the pending war, and that if we did not take the information that was in my head, which was not even common knowledge through the military, the main thing that's going to be the difference between life or death is that knowledge, and it's being lost, it's not being taught." We have, by the way, I have his YouTube channel pulled up, and we're going to talk about it here in a second. IEDs are homemade bombs that were responsible for many of the casualties troops experienced in Iraq and Afghanistan. If you don't know about IEDs, HME, this is like anarchist cookbook type stuff. Getting the video demonetized as we speak, probably. So Arthur was taken into custody. A search of his home found multiple IEDs, an IED striker plate, an electronic IED trigger, and other IED components, a pistol suppressor, bulk gunpowder, and mixed tannerite, an explosive compound usually used for rifle targets. If you guys have ever used tannerite, I'm pretty sure it's like to be added to gunpowder, I think. The Justice Department will aggressively investigate and prosecute those whose actions would further violence against those in uniform. So this is like a true, extremist, a true threat, a true veteran gone sideways into his own little conspiracy, whatever you would call it. I don't know if he's a conspiracy theorist or what he is, what the right word to say is, but he's out there teaching people who intend to hurt government and law enforcement officials how to do so. And that's horrible. That's really bad. And in case you're wondering about what he was teaching them, here is his, I've chosen this as a quick selection. 39 views on this video. I probably shouldn't even watch it, to be honest. But 39 views on this video. We've got a excerpt from his knife training curriculum. If you guys want to know move number 3, a.k.a. the third move, it's silly. This is from Christmas about a little over a year ago. So check this out and just tell me if you guys would sign up for this dude's course.
Come in behind them and stab them right here in the neck, sideways, and push forward. What am I doing? I'm pushing directly here, and then I'm going to push forward through the carotid artery. Come in behind them and stab them right here in the neck, sideways, and push forward.
I don't want to make fun of his accent.
Come in behind them and stab them right here in the neck, sideways.
But I do want to do like an impression of him. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to insult a Southern accent. That's not what I intend to do. But it's just so funny. He's like, what you going to want to do is come around the side, stab him in the neck. That's move number 3. That's going to be the last move you need to make. Once you've done move number 3, you should be able to just rest easy that you've taken out your threat there. Done there.
And push forward. What am I doing? I'm pushing directly.
It's like, what was the other guy in King of the Hill? The skinnier dude with the hat, the glasses. Oh my gosh.
And then I'm going to push forward.
So this is Tackleberry Solutions, and he's got this whole YouTube channel that is videos go back to a month ago, counterinsurgency tactics. Basically, view this at your own risk. I'm watching this purely to educate you on the fact that this person was out there trying to harm America, fundamentally trying to teach people how to harm America. So here's his SEER video.
There's a reason why evasion tactics are so heavily notated by professionals, as well as escape tactics, because no one actually wants to use the resistance tactics, okay? I don't know of a single person is like, ooh, pick me, I want to have the shit beat out of me. So nobody really wants to have to be interrogated, let alone go through torture tactics that you're going to have to go through.
The man's got a point there. Nobody wants to be that person.
Resistance training is crucial, and I want you to pay attention to what I'm going to tell you, because you're not going to believe me. You're going to crack. Everybody does. There's no shame in it. There is not a human being on this earth that won't talk given enough time and enough torture. I mean, they start skinning your leg off, the skin off your leg, you're going to want to talk, all right? The trick is half-truths, misdirection, leading them a different way.
Okay, I'm just getting totally distracted watching this. So the point is, this dude was out there teaching all these skills that he was exposed to in the Army, including his Cav Scout, explosives, I don't know if he was a sapper or what kind of additional schools he had been to, but he was connected to people who had tried to kill police, all this stuff, horrible things that I am obviously against. I think everyone's probably against. Everyone watching this show is probably against that. So I hope. So be careful out there. Look out for this kind of grifter who wants to impress you with their military resume and train you to be just a deadly civilian. You know, you just want to be the deadliest office manager in the office. So that way, if you have to lay somebody off and you're worried they're going to, you know, snap on you, you're prepared because you've already got the emergency exit buried under your, you know, folded up ghillie suit or something like that. Just something crazy. So look out for that kind of thing. And that's that guy. Now you know that that's a thing out there. So thanks for giving all of us a bad name. I hope that your case is processed and your punishment is swift. Just what is going on? Let's see. Give him a Judy chop, Justin says. This guy's the ideal Boy Scout troop leader, Big Sigma energy. So I'm going to give you guys one more story here, and I'm going to be out for the day, but I'll be back tomorrow. This last story is just for fun, because you know how we like to do it on the Scuttlebutt Show. And as always, you guys can check out the links in the description down below, all the things, so that you can find out how to become a member. You can click that join button right below this video. You can become a patron, all the cool stuff that goes along with that. You can get your Scuttlebutt Show merch at scuttlebuttshow.com. And with that, here's our last story for the day. We salute the Navy commander who dresses up like famous wrestlers to present awards to sailors. That's what I'm talking about. You're getting an award, brother, as he's dressed up like, that was a terrible impression, Macho Man Randy Savage. This is cool, but I would be like, damn, my skipper watches the WWE. You know, like I watched that when I was 13. I would go to ECW live events. I saw my first topless female at a wrestling event, a live wrestling event. It was the ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling. It was the real one. That was the real one, by the way. And we would go up in Poughkeepsie, big stadium up there, and we would go watch these events. It was pretty cool. So this skipper, Commander David Holland, skipper of the Arleigh Burke-class Aegis destroyer USS Chung Hoon, has at different times traded in his navy blue coveralls for a bright green pair of pajama pants, a purple bandana, a fake bushy beard, a blaring red cowboy hat, cheetah print jacket, and other extravagant duds. Clothing. Duds means clothing. And here he is dressed up. Who is that? I don't even recognize who that is. Please help me with the leopard print and the red. Is that Hulk Hogan? Help me out down there. Let's see. Does it say? Let's see. So he's got all these things. He's dressed up as The Rock right here. Who is your favorite wrestler? If your skipper could give you a award in a wrestler costume, what wrestler would you want him to be? Triple H, Mankind, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock? I'm trying to think of all the big wrestlers. The Big Show. I'm trying to think of all the Mark Brown. Is that the guy's name? Mark Brown? Who was your favorite wrestler back in the day, I guess is what I'm getting at. You tell me. I know everyone out there has one. I know everyone out there has a favorite wrestler. Don't be scared to put your favorite wrestler in a comment. So it even says he has channeled the energy and outfits of Mankind and Mr. Sacco, which I forgot about until right now. Macho Man and Cheetah Print. Oh, yeah, there you go. And Hulk Hogan. Of course, dressing up as a wrestler isn't the only way to get props from enlisted service members. Sometimes all it takes is giving out smoked turkeys and Rockstar energy drinks when a local commissary runs out, like Air Force Master Sergeant Ian Aishin did for his airman in 2020. But it is always good to have a little fun and bounce up the motivation on your ship. It's cool to have a good sense of humor. The only problem I see here is this skipper who, he looks like he's also like all tatted up. This skipper who, you know, wants to dress up as a wrestler and give his, you know, troops awards and stuff and have a good time. That's cool. But then you might have to like bust one of those guys down in rank or something like that, or, you know, deal with some bad stuff going on. They get a DUI. Somebody's selling drugs in the ship or something like that, and you have to get serious. You worry that your sailors, your subordinates, your team members won't be able to take you seriously or something like that. I guess that's the one potential downside there, but overall, cool. That's very cool. Who's your favorite wrestler? Leave it in the comments. I got to give a shout out to Commander Holly, and I think that's a cool thing that he's doing. Overall, I'm pleased. I'm grateful. What I really am is grateful for you guys, the audience of the Scuttlebutt Show. We've got cool stuff coming up, you guys. It's going to be a big year in 2022. Tons of cool guests. I hope you guys got a chance to pick up your copy of By Water Beneath the Walls by Ben Milligan, who will be joining us on March 8th, I believe. It's going to be an awesome episode. We've got Rob Sweetman on the show this Thursday. We're going to do some breathing exercises, tons of cool stuff. It's awesome. You guys are going to love it, I think. I hope. That's my goal, of course. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Scuttlebutt Show. I certainly did. Stay safe, be good, happy President's Day. And with all that being said, I look forward to talking to you guys very soon. And for now, that's the Scuttlebutt.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.